Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Thursday and another edition of the M Word. And welcome to those of you that are watching on Zoom for our BIM Collaborate webinar with Bianca this afternoon. Before I hand over to Bianca, I just wanted to say hello and welcome. I'm Robin. I'm the Technical Director here at Man & Machine in the UK. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you with us this afternoon. So for those of you that are new to these sessions, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's through YouTube Live, we air these on most Thursdays. We try for every Thursday. And we try and share a tip or a trick or a what's new or a workflow or a product that might interest you in the design space, whether it's for construction, like today with the Construction Cloud and BIM Collaborate, or in the design and manufacturing space as well. So sometimes we run these on the likes of Fusion or on the likes of Inventor or Vault. We're here to share hopefully a useful workflow with you. So today I'm joined by my colleague Bianca. And Bianca is going to talk you through a product called BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro. These products come inside the Autodesk Construction Cloud, and they allow you to do essentially two different things. I don't want to steal too much of Bianca's light here, but across the two products, you have, let's say, entry-level model collaboration, and then you've got design coordination. So you've got two different workflows with a lower entry price point product and a higher entry price point product, depending on whether you need to workshare in Cloud Revit or just work with some online clash detection. But as I say, I don't want to take steal Bianca's thunder, so I'm going to let her introduce herself now, and she'll take you through the products with a live demo. I do hope you enjoy the session, and I will hand over to Bianca. Thank you, Bea.
Thanks, Robin. Hi, everyone. If you remember me from previous sessions, I've been focusing on the Construction Cloud. So today we're going to focus on BIM Collaborate, as Robin mentioned, and hopefully share some tips or tricks that might be helpful and useful. So I'm just going to share my screen now. And I have a couple projects that I'll be using for examples as we go through this. The first thing that I'll point out is that we are in the Design Collaboration module. And in the left corner, you'll be able to navigate through all of the modules that are turned on for that particular project. Below that, you will see model coordination. We'll touch on this as we go through the session. And just point out the different tools that will hopefully help you workflow and share information within and around your project. So the first thing that I'll be touching on is the Home tab. And here we have lots of colors here with our project timeline. And if you open this section in a particular project, it might be closed on the first instance. So you can use this to expand. If I completely X that out, you might see the three dots by default. So you want to expand on that. And just to let you know, I am a project admin, account admin, so I'll have higher overviews. So this isn't what your standard user will see. As I expand on these swim lanes, ideally you would have access just to your team lane, and you'll be able to create packages just for those. So in my instance, it might not look exactly like yours when you sign in, just a heads up. So what we're seeing here is the project timeline. Now each swim lane is identified by a folder that's in the folder structure from the doc site. And this typically is your work in progress area. These swim lanes will allow us to almost reference back to as and when information is shared throughout the project. That might be a Revit file that's published, so that's what you'll see here with the square icon, or it might be some information that's being shared from the architect team to pretty much any of the other teams will be able to see that. But that would be linked information that will allow them to later on reference that into their projects. So with the timeline at the bottom, we're able to slide and really start from the beginning all the way to the current time of the project and refer back to that information as we need. So having that from an organization perspective, it's all in one place. So again, we're not having to find previous versions or links through emails and different ways that might have been shared. So the colors and the names, we can adjust this. This is all settings that can be controlled by your project admin. So there are a couple of steps that they'll need to set up. And the first thing would be identifying those teams. If you'd like to change the color, maybe to your company colors, help identify them easier. That's quite easy with just a couple clicks. And then next to that, I've selected the current folder structure that we have within this project, but you can always change these names if you like. This is taking it directly from what the folder is called, but you could always adjust that to something that's easier, a bit more relevant for your team. From there, you will need to go through each of these tabs. I've started on the team setup, so I'm just going to go back a step. And we have this shared folder location. So this is quite important when setting up your design collaboration module. It's asking us, where is that shared folder going to be in that folder structure? And if there's not one that's already set up, the system will create one for you. And what that means is all of the information that's shared from that work in progress area through those timelines, a copy of it will be saved in the shared location. So that essentially would be accessible to all of the team members, and they'll be able to view that information and link. We do have a coordination space, which we'll go through as well, and this will allow us to select the folder of where a copy of the documents will be going for clashing. Sometimes, I mean, this folder is quite flexible, so it could be a specific clash folder, or it could be one of your work in progress areas if you wanted to work that way. So those are going to be the main setups. And again, this could be modified by your project admin, and then it would be ready for you to go as an individual user. So just going back to the timeline, I have the architect team active down at the bottom. So whichever team is on the bottom, that is the one that will allow you to create a package from. So if you were part of the MEP team, you would want to click on the MEP Engineer swim lane, and then you would see the Create Package tab. And that's going to allow us to select documents, select files from our existing information in our work in progress area, and share that with the wider team. You will also see on the top right corner, it says Create Package. This is the same option here. Now, the information that we're able to select from is whatever has been published from Revit. I'm just going to use Revit as the example for this. So anything that's been published from Revit, we'll be able to go through those settings and decide what we want to share to the web. That information will later be available through the package information. So if I want to create a new package, I'll be able to select the new, give it a title, and give it a title, and then I can select from the information listed below. So it's divided into three ways. You have the sets of the information that's been published, and then you'll have your models, any additional models you like to include, and then any documents. Now at the moment the documents is blank, but if you go to add documents, it will allow you to select any files or any relative information that's in that particular folder. So I'm just going to add a couple of PDFs here. So this will all be included in my package. Now we will see the Issues tab on the left-hand side. If there are issues that were created on these documents, they'll be listed as well. So once that's complete, I can also refer to the very top. This will give us a little insight to what's been selected. So we have one set, two sheets, and no 3D views in this one. So I'm going to head and select Save. And I'm going to share that information. You can always delete this if you've made a mistake or you want to recreate it for any reason, but you can always edit the name if that's the only change you need to make. So I'm happy with that information, and I'm going to share that. If you'd like to place in a description for the wider team, that might be helpful. You can go ahead and do that in that section. Once the package is being shared, it will appear on the timeline for the other teams. And on my end, it's showing as a hollow or a solid fill, but for the other teams, they'll be able to view it. It will be hollow until they open the information. So that would be their key indicator that a new package has been created. So if I were to act as the MEP team, and I go ahead and select that package, I can see the title and I can see the date on that. These all packages, I can see that they have not been consumed by the other teams, and we'll go through what that means in just a few minutes. So I'm going to click on the node, and then I'll be able to expand on that model as well. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring me back into that default view that we had just a few minutes ago. I can expand on the sets and the models, and you can see here it's now only showing the files that I've selected. Now, with this information that's being shared, we could go ahead and mark it up. We can assign some issues, and we could do all of this from that package that was created. Now, I'm just going to delete this for the time being. Once that information is being shared, a copy of this documents will be in that shared folder location that we've pre-selected. Now you have one additional step. For linking purposes, you could use the shared location, or you can consume this information. And when you consume the package, that allows a copy of this information to go into your work in progress area. So I'm just going to do that now. And having the control to consume this information allows your team lead or project admin to be in control of the information, the latest information that you will be using for linking. Now, we all know work in progress information, it's going to be changing, and you don't want to be working off of information that might be moved at a later time. So using the swim lanes to reference those design points will be a good way to track all your information and make sure you're working from the latest files. So I've consumed that information, and I'm just going to take a look in my docs environment just to show you what that looks like. So you will see the folder structure, which is our swim lanes at the moment. And as I go down, I can see that I have a design collaboration folder, and this is the area that we've selected as the shared space. That means in the architect folder, I should see a copy of those two models that I've shared. And if I just expand that, I should see along with the dates and my name at the end here. Okay, so this is the file or files that I've shared. Now that would allow you to link from this area, but if we prefer a more controlled environment, that was the MEP team. I'm just going to expand here, and we have the consumed folder. If I expand on the consumed folder, I will see a package for the architect team. I'm also seeing one from the structural, so that would have been a previous package that would have been consumed. So within the architect folder, I can see the two documents, the two models, and the DWG that was shared. This would allow my specific team, in this case is the MEP team, to go to this folder and use for referenced information. Okay, this is a nice way for everyone to stay on track and know the latest versions of documents that they're working with. Of course, you could always give access if you have multidisciplines within one organization. You may give access to your work in progress area. That might be a way that works best for you. Again, every scenario will slightly vary. So just going back to design collaboration, we do have additional tools that we can use with to digest and to view the information that was shared in the package. So as I mentioned, those issues that we were able to create while we're viewing those documents, they will be listed within the issues tab. Now we do have a couple of, we have the work in progress tab here, and then we have team package issues. So depending where those issues were created, you will be able to filter through the three options, okay? If you've created issues in docs and you finish at number 75 and you create an issue in design collaboration, it will be number 76. So they're always correlated in the correct numbering location. Now, each time a member is publishing the information, you will have a published log here under the project status. So this would just be available for your reference if needed. Now, where the excitement comes, I like to say that the changes tool is something that's quite helpful and beneficial. Now, the difference between the changes tool that we have with the compare feature, this will allow us to select specific elements in the model that we want to watch. It might be floors and walls in this case, and it might be relevant only specific elements. So this is why that would come into play. Each time a new version is published or a new a model is shared, it will compare the previous version and highlight the changes for us. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this to show changes. I just want to mention, while you are setting this up by going through the change group, it will take a few minutes to populate. You may set up the model, you might have to come back 5 minutes, so just a little bit of reference there. So here I can go ahead and see that the 721 elements have been modified. Nothing's been deleted and nothing's been added. So if I expand on any of these, I'll be able to highlight and select the specific area of the floor. And this will allow me to view those changes a lot quicker. Now, if you prefer an Excel document, you can export this information into a report, and it may be easier for you to reference the material or the elements that have moved that way. So that's an option for you. And as well, you have the filter tool. So you can filter through the different types, discipline, and categories. So in some cases, this might help view the information that you're after as well. So I'm just going to exit out of this and go back to our main section. So if we are viewing the information through the Home tab, through the models, we can use the compare feature in that section as well. So you'll have compare, and you'll be able to view all of the models of the teams that are sharing information. So you can see here it's taking a bit of time to load. That is normal, and once it's all complete, it will be available for you to select the specific categories, and then we'll go back to the same view that I was previously in. Now, for just the members that have been using docs, you have these nice tools down at the bottom that will allow you to adjust the settings, to work with the level of information. You have section boxes, you can do first-person walkthroughs. So you still have lots of access to navigate through the information that's being shared without having to go back into your docs tab as well. So using the swim lanes to create packages, even if it's internally, will go a long way, because we can always refer back to those dates and note who the users were that published that information. Now, moving on to model coordination, I'm just going to use the module selector and go into the model coordination tab. And here we will see additional tools that we can use. Now, the nice thing about model coordination is we've selected the folder that we would like to use as our clashing location. And you will have to manually place a copy of the model that you would like to clash within that space. And it's going to take the default views from that model. So in this case, we have some 3D views here to use, but you can go ahead and place a copy of any and all models that you would like to clash together at any point. And it's going to run those clashes for you in the background. So on the models tab, it's going to show me all the files that I have within that particular folder. And as I've selected in the top right corner, you can have multiple clashing areas. So if I were to select two of those views and open them in the viewer, I have a couple of tools that I can use to navigate around this information. The first one I have is the transform tool. And as you can see here, this model quite isn't aligned, but that's fine. With the transform tool, I can select the Revit model and move the MEP model right into place to follow those coordinates. Now, as easy and fun as that is, it's only doing it in ACC for the purpose of clashing and viewing it within this space. It's not changing or updating your coordinates in the software. So just something to be aware of. If you'd like to use some additional tools like the pinpoint or rotate option, you'll be able to follow the steps above and then move and drag and drop your models within that space. Now, ideally, you'd want to save this transformation, so each time you open those files, it comes into the same location, or it saves any of your changes. But as I use this one as an example, I'm just going to cancel that for the time being. Now, let me just go here. You have a model browser on the left-hand side. So again, you can toggle on between the different disciplines. And you will find assembly and categories as well. So depending DWG, Revit files, some of these filter tools will be a bit more relevant for yourself. Now we can add some rules, and this will allow us to include or disinclude certain areas of the model that we don't want or that we don't require for clashing. Unlike Navisworks, it won't generate a report on all the clashes. We will have to create some issues and then a report from those issues. So what we'll see in a minute is just a full model clashing against each other. Now, if you ever wanted to save this view, you could use that as a federated view and publish that view to your docs. That is also an option as well. Now, if I just click out of this and go back to the views, any of those views that are saved will be listed in the views section. You can make those private and you can make them public as well. And the ones that are shared already to docs, you'll see that they're grayed out at the moment. Then we get into the clashing. So within the clashing section, you will see that this diagram, it's already filled out, it's pre-populated, highlighting the different clashing groups. So I'm just going to select on the one that has the most clashes. And we will see they are listed on the left-hand side, and we can expand any of these to view any of those particular elements. If you'd like to toggle between the different models, you can use the selector at the top, the primary to clash with, and then you can use additional settings to go ahead and highlight what is a valid clash and what isn't. The first instance you might do is create an issue, and that would allow you to drop the pin, similar to what we've been doing in docs, and then go ahead and fill out that issue card. Now, the nice thing with creating the issues from this space is you'll get an issue thumbnail, and that will also appear when you are creating or generating reports. So as you might have lots of clashes in the project and hard to keep reference of maybe where they are, you could always reference the thumbnail and you can always assign them to a specific location within the model as well. So that is available using a template. If not, you can just go ahead and type in the locations and refer to it that way. So that's one way, creating those issues. And then we also have the option to select an object and inform the team that it's not an issue. If that's the case, you will see a default title that's populated, and then we're going to go ahead and give it a valid reason. Including a comment or description within the other field will be required. If you were to select one of the other valid reasons, then you don't have to fill out a comment, but it might be necessary just so that everyone else is aware. Once you save that, it will ignore that clash as an issue. And then lastly, you can use the show clashes option to narrow it from a section within or around certain values as well. So you can utilize that to help. Any of those issues, once again, regardless which view we have quick access to all of that, and we could always filter through the information to narrow down. So just getting out of that, we have the issues tab, which will again collect all of those issues from the clashing section. And we do have two areas of communication. You will see this in the model BIM Collaborate tab and in model coordination. And that's the meetings and correspondence. So these tools will allow you to communicate, access your project files, and share that information across the team. So unlike the swim lanes that's used more for your design files, if you need additional ways to share that information, such as a correspondence to take that information offline, you can always create an email or copy the email address to your current Outlook email, and it will track the project as well. So there's lots of ways of sharing information, and again, it's all hosted in one area, leaving you just one place to come to and export that. So that was design collaboration and a little insight on model coordination. Hopefully you've learned something new or getting some insight on how this can help you in the future. Thank you and see you on the next one.